Hey you. Welcome to another episode of the Free Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Amber Andrews, and today we are back with another episode. Y'all, I didn't even want to come on here today. I'm going to be honest. I am just so tired. The week has been so long, so heavy, so hectic. But at the end of the day, I know the things that the Lord has put on my heart. I know the things He's asked me to do. So it's up to me to be obedient and to follow through with those things. So here we are, filming the podcast. This is week 2, I believe. So we trying to get there, y'all. We trying to be consistent as possible. This week we're going to be talking about a little bit of an iffy topic, you guys. It's a little bit of a hot topic and a little bit of an iffy topic. I say iffy because I'm still in the midst of it, trying to figure it all out. I feel like I'm just going through the motions at this point. But today's topic, nonetheless, is going to be talking about dating while Christian. So if you know, you know. But the dating streets are ghetto out here, y'all. These dating streets are just like complete garbage. And I can personally say that because I've been in it. I've been putting myself out there. I've been trying my hardest to just kind of like not completely isolate or shut down. Like, I want to put myself out there, but at the same time I want to protect myself and just kind of stay hidden and wait for God to deliver my Prince Charming to my doorsteps. But I know in all reality that's not how it happens. That's not how it works. At least not, I don't, yeah, no, it's not a fairy tale. But we're going to be talking about dating while Christian, and I'm just going to cover some of the things that I've been learning and some of the things I've experienced throughout this past dating situation. And I just feel like God has put it on my heart to talk about this because why would He have me go through these things? Why would He have me go through all of this if it wasn't for a learning experience? I just feel like I keep trying to do things my way and do things on my own, and that's how I end up hurting myself. It's like, Amber, God already has a plan orchestrated. You need to just be obedient, and you need to just be patient, and you need to believe Him and just follow His steps, the steps that He gives you. But me being a hard-headed person, an impatient person, I jump and I overstep what God has already planned for me, and I put myself in these situations that I don't necessarily have to go through, but I go through them, and I learn the hard way, and then I'm like, oh God, that's what you were trying to show me all this time. So just recently, I want to say in the last maybe 2 to 3 months, I had put myself on dating apps. I was on Facebook dating. I was on Hinge. I was on, it's another one. I can't think of it right now. Upward, which is a Christian dating app. But anyways, I put myself on like a host of different dating apps, and I told myself, like, we're just gonna see what's out there. We're just gonna go with the flow. We're still gonna be dating intentionally because the plan is always to date with a purpose. However, we're going to put ourselves out there and just see what happens. So like I said, I put myself on these dating apps, and don't get me wrong, I met some really nice, really cool people, but they're not my person. They're not the person God has for me. And sometimes I just really wish that I would slow down and just really think things through before jumping, because I wouldn't, if I had to go back, like, let's rewind to 2 to 3 months ago, before putting myself on those dating apps, I would have really sat down and talked with God and asked for His discernment first. I would have asked Him, like, God, is this something that you want me to do? And I'm pretty sure now that I've gone through it and I know what happened, I'm pretty sure He would have told me no. And because He told me no, I would have listened, and I would have been obedient to that. And I would have saved myself a lot of hassle, a lot of frustration, a lot of just nuisance and pain that I didn't have to technically go through had I just waited on God in the first place. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but let me just say this. When you first meet somebody, God is always going to show you where that's gonna go. He'll show you in the way beginning, like, girl, this is not what I have planned for you. And for me, I have a hard time listening. So He might show me 2 or 3 times, like, this is not what I have planned for you. This is not who I want you to be with. But because I like to see things through and I like to see the good in everybody, and I'm an empath, I have a hard time just believing that first sign that God gives me. It's like, I'm like, okay, God, I hear you, but let me just see where this goes. Let me just see what this person is about. Let me just, let me work the room a little bit and figure it out. So I have a hard time really just listening to God and being obedient, because the signs are always there. He's always giving me the answers, and he's always giving me the path to go down. But what we have to remember is that God also gives us choices. He gives us the opportunity to make a choice, and sometimes we don't always make the right choice. And for me personally, that's something I'm learning hard in this season, is making the right choice, especially when it's presented to me clear as day, but for whatever reason I lean on my own understanding instead of trusting God's plan. So it's really, really hard. And I know, like, when it comes to dating, there's so many like misconceptions, and there's so much stuff in the media about it, and it's just like everyone has their own idea of what dating should be and what dating shouldn't be, and it can be very confusing. But I will say, when you're dating as a Christian, there should be certain guidelines that you are following. And one thing most important, I think it's all about how you meet a person and where you meet them at. And when I say that, I'm saying, yes, in the physical, how you meet them and where you meet them, but also in the spiritual and in the mental, how you meet them and where you meet them at. So like I was saying, God gives us choices, right? So we're not always going to make the right choice. So what you really have to do is, when you are first presented to a person, or a person is presented to you, you want to really assess them. You want to ask them questions. You want to get to know them. But don't just ask them the basic, what do you like to do? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? No. I mean, those things are nice to know as well, but I always ask a person, do you believe in God? And from there, I ask them even deeper questions that relate to God. Because anybody can say, yes, I believe in God. No, I don't believe in God. Obviously, if they say no, that ain't the person for you. But once they say, yes, I believe in God, then I follow up with why. Why do you believe in God? What is it that makes you believe that he's real? What have you gone through? I'm looking for them to answer me in a way that shows they have their own separate, independent relationship with God. Something outside of, oh, I was born and raised in the church. Something outside of, oh, my parents told me to believe, so I believe. Something outside of, oh, well, everyone else says he's real. There must be a reason why there's stars in the sun and the clouds and the grass is green. I'm looking for you to really tell me, hey, I have a relationship with God because X, Y, and Z. And it has to be a clear, very specific to that person reason. And when I say that, I'm thinking about myself. So when I say, like, if someone was to ask me, why do I believe in God? I can give them 1,000 scenarios in real life situations that I've been in that only God could bring me out of. There's no other explanation for why I'm still standing here on this earth after going through something like that, other than the fact that God saved me. You know what I'm saying? So when I ask somebody that question, I'm really, really, really looking for them to give me some details. And of course, you don't want to force nobody to feel like they have to answer you. You don't want to force anybody to talk about something they're not ready to talk about. But there should definitely always be more to their answer, especially when you ask them, why do you believe in God? So that's what I mean when I say people are going to be presented to you in different ways, but it's up to you to really assess and make that right choice, whether or not you believe this person was sent to you by the Lord or not. Outside of asking them questions, something else you can do is just pay attention to their character. How do they treat people? How do they treat women in their life? How do they treat the restaurant server that's at the first date y'all go on? How do they treat you? How do they treat their mom? Different things. How do they treat the elderly? All these things are things you want to pay attention to, because at the end of the day, if someone has the character of God in them, they're going to treat people right. They're going to be respectful. They're going to be kind. They're going to be nice. They're going to be helpful. All these different characteristics you're going to see within them. If they're the opposite of that, kind of going to make you question, is this person really who they say they are? Is this person really a child of God? God would not send me someone that's being disrespectful towards women, that's being disrespectful towards their mom, that's giving the waiter a hard time at the dinner table, that's saying disrespectful, rude, ignorant things, that's not somebody that shows characteristics of God. So when you're looking at these characteristics, you're asking these questions, all these things are things that you can tie in to make your choice and make your assessment, on top of speaking to God about him honestly. I mean, obviously, you want to speak to God about this person. You want to ask God, God, did you send me this person? If you did, send me a sign. Give me some confirmation. God's going to want you to use your discernment. Discernment is a big thing. Not everybody has discernment. You really just have to tap in and dig in, and that's when you spend that one-on-one time with God, and you're really just asking him, like, God, is this person from you? And like I said, sometimes you make the right choice, sometimes you make the wrong choice, but it's up to you to decide how you're going to move. Are you going to move accordingly? Are you going to go with the fact that this person isn't showing characteristics of a God, but they said that they were a child of God and they said that they believe, so I want to believe them, I want to take their word for it, but they haven't shown me anything. I'm a firm believer of actions speak louder than words. So if you're telling me one thing, but I'm witnessing another in your actions, that's going to lead me to believe like this is not someone that God would send to me, because there wouldn't be confusion about it. I wouldn't be unsure. There wouldn't be so much opposite. You're saying one thing, but you're doing another. None of that would be a problem if you were sent by God. And so what I've really had to learn in these past 2 or 3 months with dating, Facebook dating, dating online, all these dating apps, meeting all these people, I had to really learn that, Amber, you can't set a boundary or set a tone or set a non-negotiable and then not follow through with it. I was breaking a lot of my non-negotiables, a lot of my boundaries to meet these people. Some things I was going back on, for example, was I wasn't asking the questions. I would ask basic questions like, hey, what's something that's a non-negotiable for you, or what's your boundaries? Like, because I wanted to know theirs, but I wasn't asking the most important question, which is, do you believe in God and do you have a relationship with God? And that's something that I always have started with in the past. I don't know what made it different this time around, but I was not asking those key questions in the beginning. And so I'm meeting these people and I'm thinking, oh, like, oh, so-and-so is great. Oh, me and him really vibe. Oh, we really, get along well. We got so much in common. But I was missing the most important part. So here we are 2 to 3 months down the line, and I'm looking back like, girl, what were you thinking? Like, of course you got your time wasted. Of course you were played with. Of course, like, you and this person didn't work out because they did not have a relationship with God. They knew God. They said they believed in God, but they don't have their own relationship with him. So that's why things didn't go as planned. That's why things couldn't work out with us, because they have their own separate way outside of God of living and doing things, and that doesn't align with what God has set for me. Not saying that you have to be the perfect Christian. Nobody's perfect. There is no such thing as the perfect Christian. However, I know specifically what God has set in stone for me, and it wasn't what was going on in these past few situations where I met these people, these men. I keep saying people, but it's literally a man. So yeah, I met these different men. I did not ask the right questions, and therefore I was stuck at the end like, well, what happened? Girl, you didn't ask the questions. That's what happened. You set yourself up for failure. So all I can really say, the most important thing I want you guys to take from this, I'm about to wrap it up because it's getting kind of long, but the most important thing I want you guys to take from this is, when you're dating as a Christian, make sure you're starting with your key principles and your key guidelines. And that is asking a person, why do you believe in God? Well, you start with, do you believe in God, and why? And if they can't answer that question, I guarantee you that person is not the person God has set for you. Leave them where they're at. Keep it moving. Keep it pushing. Hey, nice to meet you, but I'm going to have to end it here, because that person ain't for you, baby. I promise you that. And I'm really talking to myself, because I'm frustrated with myself for not doing things the right way and for not doing what I know. It's like when you know better, you do better. But Amber, why didn't you? But I know that this will help somebody else as well. So, like I said, when you're out here in these dating streets as a Christian, it's hard. It's definitely hard. It's hard as a non-believer. I can only imagine what it's like for someone, one of us that actually is serving God and worshiping God, and we want to live by His will, but we got all these different things being like thrown at us and clashing, and it's just a lot. But like I said, ask the questions. After you ask the questions, observe, assess their behavior, assess how they treat other people, assess how they're talking to you and to those around you. And after you assess and after you observe, and then you ask the questions, from there, go to God, ask for discernment. It's 3 steps, y'all, 3 steps. So, like I said, ask the questions is step number 1. Step number 2 is assess and observe their behaviors and how they're treating other people. And step number 3 is go to God about that person. Ask for discernment, ask for guidance, ask for a confirmation, a sign of some sort to show you, hey, either you're making the right choice or you're making the wrong choice. Either this person is for you or they're not for you. And from there, you should be able to navigate the rest of your way through. And just remember, like, always lean on God. Don't ever lean on your own understanding, because that's going to take you down the wrong path. Take it from me, someone who's done it 1,000 times. But that's all I got for y'all this week. Man, that took a while to get through. I hope y'all got something from it. I'm going to catch y'all in next week's episode. Peace.